Welcome back to the Risk of Rain 2 item tier list. Ugh, my throat is dying as I'm recording this. Now, we're going to be doing the red items. I'm going to quickly move them all up. Here. Then we will continue by ranking them. There's like 30 red items in the game or something. I don't know how many exactly. But there's quite a lot of them, which is pretty cool. And we're going to rank each one. First up, big old brilliant behemoth. I think it's a solid A tier. It gives a like 60% damage increase. Pretty solid. Also makes your attacks explode. Pretty cool. The damage increase is mostly why you get it. The nice little AoE is okay, but nothing too special. But 60% damage is always a welcome addition to your item pool. So yeah, definitely A. Ceremony of Daggers also find themselves in A tier. I don't think they're that good of a AoE item as Gasoline or Lowest, because these things have more utility early game, but these things do have the potential to be really amazing, especially if an FMP build or when you're really late in a run and it starts proccing everything for you, because these things have like a 1 proc coefficient per dagger, which is pretty insane, and they do a decent amount of AoE damage on top of that. They can really carry your runs late game. But early game, they're just okay. They kind of just pop up more and more as you go in the game once you get a better build. Them on their own, they're just kind of A tier. Pretty good, but nothing amazing. Frost Relic, also kind of in the same boat. I think I'd probably put more towards the top of B tier, because although it is really strong with the survivors that like to get close, like melee survivors, this is a good one. It does rely on kill, so it's not really the greatest for Mithrix and a lot of other bosses, which makes it a little bit worse, but for regular enemies, this pops off. Simulacrum, this is one of your best runs, honestly. It does consistent high damage, and also inflicts a debuff too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, overall, be top of B tier. Happiest Mask. Unfortunately, this is one of the worst red items in the game. It's going to top of D tier. Actually, I'd probably put it here. I'd put it here. So you have a 7% chance on kill to spawn a ghost, which sounds pretty cool. Most of the ghosts you do get end up sucking, and it's very rarely that it ends up helping you. I've only had this item really help me like once or twice. It's a very specific scenario where I got a Ghost Lunar Chimera, and it killed Mithrix in the 4th phase for me. That was like the only time I really have had this thing be useful for me. It was extremely niche and it was super late into a run. I don't know if we would have died there, but it was useful during that, and I didn't have to go for the stress of Mithrix phase 4. So, for that alone, it's definitely a little bit better than a couple others, but nothing too amazing. It kind of sucks. 7% chance is too low, and this actually is equipment Risk of Rain 1, and it's way better in that game. It's actually good in that game, but in this game, not so much. Next up, Head Setter, Head Stompers. Now, Head Stompers from Risk of Rain 1, Head Stompers in Risk of Rain 2. This item is pretty damn good. It is definitely S tier. The thing with Head Stompers is it does 1,000 to 10,000% damage depending on your height. This item is really good on like Mercenary, Acrid, and those characters can go up really high. They're even better than them. The rest of them, you need Wax Coil and a bunch of mobility for it to get to work. It also gives the immunity to fall, which is pretty good. And it gives you a really high jump height, which can avoid a lot of attacks. So, yeah. This item has a lot of things going good for it. And it's pretty underrated, honestly. I think it's one of the better red items in the game. Really good mobility, really good damage once you get the set up, and can one-shot most things on the screen. It has a 1 proc coefficient, by the way, on every enemy it hits. So that's also pretty amazing as well. It can easily start proc chains for you in the late game and destroy everything. I've used this item to kill Mithrix many times, and I can tell you it's amazing. Easy S tier. Nuka Hana's Opinion, going from one of the best reds to one of the worst. Nuka Hana's is definitely one of the worst items in the game. It does have one good synergy, which is with NG turns, as it has consistent healing. But the problem with Nuka Hanas is you need a lot of healing for it to like consistently fire off the things. And that takes a while to do. And by the time you make Nuka Hanas viable on your build, whatever you have in the run, everything else will be better than it. So it's not really worth picking up and using unless you engineer with the turn speed, and then it's nothing amazing, but does give a decent damage buff. So yeah, it's like what I think I would call this item its own term, the Nuka Hana's effect. Item so bad, but by the time it gets good, everything else outclasses it, you know? So yeah, there you go. I trademarked that term. It's mine. The Nuka Hana's effect. Definitely one of the worst items in the game. Easy. I scrap it every single time I pick it up. Tesla coil. Low key in S tier. This item kills every weak enemy around you. Pretty cool. I love this item. The only thing bad about it is when Mithrix gets it, but depending on your survivor and what equipment you have for the final phase, it might not be a problem. But very, very mindful, and you should probably scrap it. But aside from Mithrix getting it, it's always something you want to pick up and have on you. Really amazing. It's carried me a lot in runs, and the damage for it is pretty damn good. I like this item a lot. Easy S tier, and just one of my favorite red items as well. So yeah. 57 leaf clover. I think this one probably is the best red item still. I think Head says probably second. The fact that all of your luck items kind of just get increased, especially if ATG, Charge Perforated, Molten Perf, Polyloot, all those like super good proc items that just increase the chance of them, fucking increases your DPS by so much. It's amazing. So I think by that alone, by how much power one clover can bring upon your build is really significant and definitely puts it among the best items in the game. Yeah. Next up, Meat Hook. My personal favorite on-hit AoE item. Definitely A tier. Really good AoE item for the entire game. It's on hit and it will do a lot of damage. It also, when you stack it, increases the amount of enemies that get hooked and the chance of it, which is really good. Because once you get more and more, it kind of pops off really quickly. Once I get like a couple meat hooks, my game starts to lag a lot. Let's just say that. Especially in simulacrum runs, because I do prioritize this item heavily when I play those, and I want to like get super far into it. I just get a bunch of these. Really cool item. Alien Head. Alien Head is probably the most average red item in the entire game. It just increases skill cooldowns. Nothing too special. It might make a significant difference in some survivors, but even then, nothing too amazing. It's a 20% decrease in all skills, which on the first stack isn't bad, but it doesn't stack very well after that. I remember one time I had 3 on a commando run. It didn't really benefit me much as commando except for my shift. But during Mithrix's final phase, he kind of just, after he got all 3 alien hits, he never stopped shooting once in the entire fight. I still won that run, mind you, but it was kind of scary. Mithrix benefits a lot from this item, so be mindful when giving it to him, because all of his skill cooldowns, he just does them more often. Especially in his final phase. Well, maybe that's why did he jump super often on? I don't remember. Anyways, you don't want to give my Mithrix too many of these. Next up, Soulbound Callus, easy B tier. Kills decrease equipment cooldown, pretty cool. Overpowered as fuck with an FMP build, but aside from that, it can be good. Kind of depends, but if you have like capacitor, it kind of just gets up 100% of the time almost. So pretty good. Kind of depends. Early Afterburner, definite B2. It's way better than Alien Head because it gives you utility cooldown by 33%, and it gives you an extra 2 charges, which makes it way better than Alien Head. Alien Head doesn't give you extra additional things. It's just 20% across the board. This thing gives you extra utility charges. Pretty good. If you're playing Loader, Mercenary, any survivor really, it's good. Highly recommend. Dio's best friend. Easy S tier. It's an extra life. not more to it. Once you die, you revive back. Can save your ass. I've saved my ass many times. Wake of Vultures. I don't know how to think about this. Is this the worst one? Wake of Vultures. Due to how consistent it is. Not consistent, actually. It's not consistent. Due to it being more consistent than these items, it's definitely top of D tier, but nothing amazing. Wake of Vultures has never been useful for me. Although it is more consistent than the other red items in this tier, it's still not good. The elite effects aren't that great in this game. Really, the only good one is like Fire and Perfected, but you only get Perfected on the last stage. It's not really that helpful, so yeah, definitely D tier. Brain Stocks also goes in C tier. I love Brain Stocks. It's one of my favorite red items in the game. But let's be honest, you don't really get that much benefit from it. You kind of just... The only time you really get benefit from it is when you kill an elite enemy on some survivors. It can like pop off, but in general, it's like, it's kind of just whatever. I've had it work before, but a lot of times it's just like, rather have other red items. One of my favorite ones, but definitely not the best. Save Rejuvac. Probably solidly sits in B tier because it doubles your healing, so it's good enough because of that. I don't really got much else to say about it. It's cool. Aegis. Now, I'm under the opinion that this is the worst red item in the game. By the time you make this good, it is not good. Because by the time you get enough healing, you're already going to get one-shot by everything. This thing isn't going to do shit. It takes way too much healing to be consistent. You need like a lot of healing just to be good. Not worth it at all. I don't know why you would ever think this is a good item. Oh, Engineer actually makes this decent with Bungus. Engineer makes all the bad items good. This thing's good. This thing's good. This thing's good. My god. But aside from that, pretty shit. I think Aegis should give like 15 defense on pickup, so it's at least useful when you first get it. But because it's a shield, it should. Rose Buckler gives you defense on pickup. This should too. Like, come on. But aside from that, just overall, just not very good. 100% scrap every time. I also get this oddly a lot of times when I play Captain. I don't know why. I don't know why I get Aegis and Captain of all characters, but I really like scanning it for some reason. Anyway, Sharing Justice. Probably more or less top of A tier. I think it's, yeah, probably about here. I think the other armor debuff item is a little bit better, but 60% debuff reduction is pretty good. Yeah, it makes you negative 60 armor, more damage, whatever it is. Since armor goes into the negatives in this game, so if you go like you have 0 armor, then you get hit like once by Sharing Justice, you have negative 10 armor. And it lasts decently long too, so pretty good item. And yeah, Renaissance Disc also C tier, pretty cool one. The funny frisbee, but also not that great. The problem with this thing is, although it does a lot of damage when it does hit an enemy, and it works with FMP, it oftentimes doesn't hit the enemy you want it to hit. It hits a random target, which doesn't make it that great. When it does hit like a boss or something, it can pop off. It does like over 1000% damage, so it's like when it does pop off, you're like, sheesh. Also, funny enough, that's the longest description of any item in the game, but yeah. Basically, when you kill an enemy, it charges up, and it charges up to 4 when it will hit an enemy, and it'll do like 1000% damage, and then blow up and do a bunch of damage to enemies around it. That's how it works. Pretty cool. Next up, Yohomi Desplant. Desplant also in C tier. This item actually is the strongest healing item in the game, which is funny, but it's not that good because it spawns in a radius and it takes too long to spawn. You have to be in the radius to get healed, although it does heal like 10% per second, which is super strong. It requires some commitment to get healed by it, although it is bad because you have to be in a certain radius, it does heal quite a lot, which makes it way better than Warbender. But yeah. Overall, I would probably scrap it most turns, though. It's one of my favorite red items, actually, because it's a plant, but... yeah. Microbots, if you do get it, it's S tier, but you're only getting on Captain, so Let's play Artifact of Metamorphosis, but yeah. Anyways, Laser Scope. Laser Scope averages out probably to like A tier, because doing double crit damage is really strong, but it relies on crit, so it just kind of sits there. Bandit and not Loader, Railgunner do benefit from this a lot more, because it's just a free 100% damage increase for them. Pretty cool. But yeah. Spare drone parts. Oh boy, this item is really strong. So, this buffs all your drones by giving them a chain gun and a free ATG. Pretty damn powerful, and with M50 cores, this thing is even stronger. This item is really, really stupidly powerful. And just picking up one will probably carry your run pretty heavily for like mid and late game in the early. And with more drones, it's even more powerful. The only thing that's stopping this is a grandparent's burn, but he'll probably die before he even gets the chance to do that. Or a Vagrant explosion, I guess. But aside from that, easy S tier. Probably my favorite, no, not my favorite, one of my favorite red items of all time. Really cool. One of those creative ones they've added too. Yeah, Ben's Raincoat. Ben's Raincoat averages to about C. It doesn't save you that often. I'm sorry, Ben. It used to be way better. It used to be like, definitely like a solid A tier. Like top of A tier, or even low S. Immunity all debuffs, pretty good. I don't think it was that overpowered. Because like, in reality, what debuffs are going to be like that much of a problem, right? Although it was broken when it was first added, I don't think it needed to be reworked at all. Like, there's a bug when it was first added that removed curse damage, which I should have not done that. That's the only thing they needed to change with it, and it'd been fine. They actually made it like probably top 5, but the fact it doesn't remove curse damage is a good thing though. But it removes like every debuff. It was only really useful for stopping collapse. That was it. That was the only debuff that was good for, and pre-patched fire when it was buggy. Those are the only two things that really is good. I guess it blocks like slowness and cripple, which is also pretty strong. But even then, it's a red item, so who really cares? You already get shit like headset and pulver in here, like, it's not that bad. Anyways, it did not deserve the nerf, and now it's just poo-poo PP. Bottom of C tier, because it can't save you from one stack of collapse. When it does trigger, it only removes one stack of a debuff, which I really hate. And then when it comes back off cooldown again, it doesn't get rid of that debuff afterwards. It sucks. But actually, I'm putting D tier. But yeah, it can save you, so I guess I'm putting C. I don't remember it's ever saving me, but the new reworked one sucks, and I can rant about this item being shit all day. Pocket ICBM. Yeah, that's the name. Oh, definitely A tier. I don't know where to put an A tier. I put it like up here. It buffs all your missiles. Your Plasma Shrimp, ATG, Engineer missiles, they all get buffed. And they fire 3 of them instead of 1, making them really strong. And yeah, it buffs your additional sources of missiles. So you'll fire 3 ATGs in total, which is 3 proc chances. So yeah, you can tell why this is amazing. Anyways, and Symbiotic Scorpion, easy S tier. It's permanent armor debuff. This is actually better than Sharing Justice because it's permanent. It's more likely to last. Sharing Justice is better for enemies of lower HP. With enemies of higher HP like Mythics, you're more likely gonna proc more Symbiotic Scorpion stacks on them. And it's also permanent. You don't have to like consistently keep it up with like Sharing Justice, which also makes it way better as well. Next up, Ball Chaos. Sits comfortably at the bottom of C tier. I think Ben's Raincoat's better. I'll probably put Alien Head like here. Gives you a random equipment effect. Not really helpful. You can skip pillars with it, which is its only niche. Aside from that, pretty shit. It's kind of funny though, I guess. When you get like 26 of them, it just gives you volcanic area every time. That's kind of cool. Not really helpful though. And yeah. So that's it for all the red items. Risk of Rain 2. Next up, we're gonna do all the boss items. That'll be a way shorter video. I just realized, but you know, we'll do those, and we'll do the void items too. You know, we'll do both of them together. All right. So the next part's a little bit longer, and then we'll do equipments last. All right. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you in part 4, I guess.